If you're a fan of Fallout the board game, then we've got you well and truly covered here on the Lucky Roll. Have you watched our unboxing videos yet for Fallout New California, Fallout Wasteland Warfare, or most recently Fallout Shelter the board game? What about our video covering the top 5 reasons to love Fallout, or even our Atomic Bonds announcement reaction video? Not to forget our very popular ongoing series of Fallout playthrough videos. If you've missed any of these, check the info in the description below and follow the links to catch up. And don't forget to subscribe to the Lucky Roll to stay up to date with all of our future Fallout releases.
Hello and welcome to the Lucky Roll, an eclectic channel for eclectic games. And today we're doing part 3 of our Fallout 3 walkthrough. Now, before we begin, I just have one or two little administrative mistakes to correct. Commenter Eric LF very kindly pointed out to us last time that I had made a mistake in spawning the enemies. I had spawned them at the furthest point to my character. What I'm actually supposed to do is I'm supposed to spawn them at the closest point. So this villain should actually have spawned here, and this bug should actually have spawned here. So thank you for that, Eric. The other thing is I wanted to give us a heads up on what was actually happening. So just the current quests that we have available are But It Was Aliens, where we checked out Hoffman Farm to see if aliens are abducting the Brahmin, which they were. And what we need to do now is we need to quest at any settlement site until we find a Brotherhood of Steel initiative. National Treasures, where because we went up to the enclave crashed vertibird, we're still looking for the cache to help those soldiers. The Brotherhood airship has arrived, which is over here. We tried to rob something from it but kept failing, so we're going to go away, become a little bit stronger and come back. We have the Boxcar Children, which we haven't actually discovered yet on the map, which are a set of orphans we need to help. And Tabula Rasa is a card that's attached to the Boxcar Children. However, those are only the current quests. The most pressing matter is this fellow, the Super Mutant Behemoth. He is a fellow with 3 hit points, and he takes 2 steps at a time. So I had just literally triggered this character, realized that there was a symbol there, which means that instead of taking 1 step, as villains normally do, he takes 2 steps. So I get to start this session facing off against a giant, huge, super mutant behemoth that takes 3 points to kill. Now, the only way I can kill him is if I have a headshot and arms. So, starting off the combat, we hope that we don't get squashed by this big monster. I have a score of nothing. I have 2 torsos and legs. So, fortunately, I have the plasma gun, which gives me 3 rerolls: intelligence, agility, and luck. So I'm going to have to do one of my first rerolls, which gives me arms and 2 useless dice. So I have 1 of the required hits. My second reroll, I have a headshot, which is what I need. And this is my final reroll. So please God, don't squash me, Super Mutant Behemoth and its legs. And I get squashed. So, unfortunately, the Superhuman Behemoth has splattered me. Okay, folks, I double-checked the rules because I lost the fight. I wasn't sure if I was kicked out of a space or what actually happened because it's been so long since I actually lost a fight in this game. What happens is, according to the rules, the fight just ends. So I'm guessing the Super Mutant Behemoth occupies the space and I still take my damage. Now I took 3 hit points worth of damage. My Vault Suit, he inflicted 2 points worth of damage to me. He's level 3, so it's 6 hit points. However, the Vault Suit has a shield of 1. So I was able to only take 3 hit points worth of damage, and now we're in a kind of a standoff. Now I have 2 choices. I can use one of my actions to fight the behemoth, which is possibly not the clever thing to do, or I could bravely run away. Now I have a big, huge plasma gun. That gives me 3 rerolls, and you know what? I don't like bullies. So I think I'm going to attack the behemoth, use one of my actions just to get rid of it, because he's going to be a pain in my rear for the rest of the game if I do not. So, spending my attacks, or spending my action to attack him, I have to get headshots and arms. Now I have 1 headshot, so that was my first attack. The other 2 were no good to me. The next reroll, the dice are no good to me. So that's first reroll gone. Second reroll, I have another headshot and I have arms. Now I have an interesting conundrum here. I can effectively kill him, but he's done 4 points of damage to me. Now 4 points multiplied by 3 is 12. However, I negate 1 point with my vault armor, so that's 9 points worth of damage to me. And I'm currently at 13 hit points. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can't actually kill him without dying myself. So I'm going to have to do and use my final reroll and hope that I negate a point of damage. And I do not. So what happens is that he does 2 points of damage to me, and he gives me he does 2 points worth of damage to me. My armor blocks 1, so that's 6 hit points. So 13 goes down to 7. And despite trying to stand up to the big super behemoth bully, I still got slapped. So I don't think I should tempt fate anymore, so I think I will bravely run away. The question now is, where will I run away to? I could run away to Megaton, or I could, if I run away to Megaton, he could still get me, especially if he's triggered next time. Or the Alguai, if he's triggered, could get me. And he's got the little lightning symbol, so he would attack me straight away. So my options are not great, to be honest with you. However, I do have a bottle cap mine. Now the bottle cap mine is an interesting one. During your turn, exhaust to place an unused quest marker in your space and on this card. After enemies activate, if at least one enemy moved into the mark space, kill each enemy in that space, then discard this card. This card cannot unexhaust. So what I might do actually is I will go straight to Megaton, because I need a bit of healing. There's a stim pack there, and oh yes, the Alguai was here. I will go, yes, the Alguai was here because he wasn't in Megaton. I wouldn't have gone to Megaton. Sorry, I'm rambling, forgive me. I had moved the Alguai there without realizing that I had left it there. If I go to Megaton and I use the bottle cap mine, I can kill the Alguai if he goes for me. I can kill the super mutant brute if he goes for me, and I can kill the behemoth if he goes for me, which could be quite useful actually. That's 3 enemies. So I think I'll do the clever thing is, of course, if brawn can't beat brawn, brains can beat brawn. The irony of me trying to say brains beating brawn when I can't even pronounce the actual sentence. So we'll try it one more time. If brawn can't beat brawn, brains can beat brawn. So we'll use our brains. Or hopefully the Vault Dweller's brain says. Mine obviously aren't working very well, given that I can't articulate what I'm trying to say. So we'll go here, and that's my second action, and I'm going to tap the bottle cap mine. So if things take a step towards me, I can blow them up.
Lucky Roll is the home of the best board game reviews, news, competitions and discussions. We cover everything from the game of life to Gloomhaven, so don't miss out. Subscribe now to join the fun.
So, turning over the card, and this is probably the only time I will hope for the worst possible card. And it's not bad actually. We have shield moves, so the shield moves here. The Deathclaw moves here, which is of course the Alguai bear symbol, so this thing blows up. And robots move. Now there's no robots on the board, but the Yaogwai blows up. Now he has no loot or anything like that, so quite frankly he's just gone, which is, would you believe it, a bit of a blessing. Excuse me. And he spawns, the next one spawns back here, so I get 2 XP for killing him, so that's 1, 2, and I have leveled up. So we'll check out the draw 2 icons, and we have luck and charisma. Now that's interesting because I have luck, the luck perks are handy, but charisma is one of the traits I do not have, and I have the one-of-a-kind agenda card. So if I get all 6 or 7 perks, I get extra agenda points. So I think what I will do is I will take the charisma and I'll put the luck back. And happy days, I have leveled up. Now the bottle cap mine is gone, so this gets discarded. And it does at least give me an extra inventory space. So that was my last action. I've moved on. Now I can take my first action, and I think the very first thing I need to do is camp, because my health is quite bad. So I'll camp, and I'll take a well-rested trait, and my hit points go up 1, 2, 3. Now the well-rested is a good thing because it gives me a free reroll. And for my second action, I think I'll quest on Megaton, because if I can buy that stim pack, there's a stim pack here in the shop that will further heal up my poor little hit points. So questing, we have 160. You tail a group of raiders as they approach a settlement, and you suspect that they don't mean to go shopping. I could attack their leader, or a little bit of opportunistic thieving never hurt anyone much. Now, let's see. A little bit of opportunistic thieving. I'm not a very nice person, but I do need to shop at that settlement. Now, I can't really fight very well because, well, I've only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hit points to spare, but these raiders could be low level enough that I could get away with it. Also, it might make me popular with the settlement, so being idolized a little bit is a good thing. However, I've been playing a dirty rotten scoundrel up to this point, so you know what? I think I'll continue to be a dirty rotten scoundrel. So we'll see what a little opportunistic thieving we can do. As the raiders begin their attack in the town, you slip into the marketplace and help yourself to the goods. You notice a sad pair of eyes watching you from a nearby doorway. You feel a pang of guilt, you monster. Become vilified. Choose 1 item from the shop and trash this card. Okay. So I will take the stim pack and I will trash this card. So, given that I've gotten this stim pack, I think I will use it and recover all of your hit points. So during your turn you may discard this card to recover all of your hit points. So I'm back up to a full 16 health, which was handy. And this can go into the discard pile. So that was my second action. So the next thing here is the board takes its turn and we have a star. There's no stars in play, but the monster wakes up. So we'll see what the new monster is, and it's a glowing one, which is not too bad actually. It doesn't have quite the same amount of hit points, but it's only headshots that will kill it. It attacks immediately and it's irradiated. So in terms of actual horrible monsters, it's better to have a glowing one than it is to have a deathclaw. So it's back to myself. Now after I have robbed this settlement, I think I will do the same thing again. I'm going to quest to see if I can get an actual something from the shop, because I need armor. So the card is, you find yourself sorely lacking funds and you look around for any available work. I could perform hard labor, which this is ironic considering that I have a heap of caps here. I could find a job with some finesse, or I could go shopping. Now, I actually don't need money, so I'm just going to go shopping. You consider for a moment putting some hard work in, but work is hard, so you don't. Shop. That's fine. So this card goes back to the rear, and I'm going to check out the shop. Now, what we have in the shop is I get to draw a new card, and I get to draw another card on top of that because one item gets discarded. I should have drawn this when the last one went. This comes out, and now I'm drawing a new card to check. So my choices are Addictol, where I can lose an addicted trait, Nick Valentine, which I can exhaust to choose an enemy within 2 spaces of you, move that enemy 1 space in any direction. Now that's a handy trait, but I currently have Marcus, who allows me to add a hit point to certain tests, so I want to keep him. I have Jet, but I don't need that because I actually have Ultra Jet. I have a Detective's Coat, which is armor. So this one is interesting. During a test that uses perception, add 1 hit. Exhaust at any time to look at the top 2 cards of the loot deck. You may put any number of them on the bottom of the deck and the rest on top in any order. And it also gives me a hit point shield of 1. Now he costs 6 hit points, and we have Fallout 1's character, Ian. Now this character was hilarious. In the original game, he used to shoot you in the back all the time, and it was kind of a famous Fallout 1 game. Before a fight, exhaust to lower the enemy's level by 1, minimum 1, then suffer 2 damage from friendly fire. And if you have luck, keep this companion when it unexhausts. Now, I like Ian because I played the first Fallout game to death, and I always forgave him for shooting me in the back. However, it's armor I need. So I'm going to take the Detective's Coat, and I'm going to get rid of this Raider armor, which was of questionable use. So I'm going to sell the Raider armor for 3 and buy the Detective's Coat for 6. So that means I'm going to pay in 3 caps, and I am now armed with the Detective Coat that gives me a hit to an extra hit to perception tests, which is a very good thing. So that was my first action, I believe, because yes, I just turned over the death claw thing, and I have this, so I can't do the same thing twice. Now I do need to move on with the actual story, so I need to encounter caravan sites until I find the Brotherhood of Steel, which I haven't, or I need to encounter Wastelands until I recover a cache. So I need to go back to that Wasteland settlement, but that fecking super mutant is there. However, I am a bit tougher this time, and I'm at full health. So in order to progress the main story, I'm going to go back and I'm going to see if I can slap that bloody super mutant again. So using my second action, I'm going to go 1, 2, and the 2 of us are looking at each other again. Now I'm going to turn over this card, and if it's a super mutant icon, well, we have a free fight. And what we have is shield. The shield moves forward 1. The bugs move forward 1, so there's no bugs there, but this fella, this little buzzer, wakes up. This fella moves forward 1, and this fella moves forward 1. And there's no other buzzers on the board, and robot. Now there's no other robot symbols on the board either, so I'm going to put that aside. And it's time for me and Mr. Super Mutant Behemoth for round 3. Now I'm actually really not liking this guy, so I'm hoping that this time I get to slap him a little bit harder. And I'm well rested, which means I have an extra reroll. So just to remind everyone, I need head and arms to slap this behemoth. So rolling the dice, we have nothing, nada, not a single hit. So my first of 3 rerolls, we have the same thing again, nothing. I'm telling you, I'm not going to be doing the lotto this week anyway with the way my luck is going. My second reroll, and we have the exact same thing again, 0. Absolutely no hits. My plasma rifle must have an empty magazine. My third reroll, and we have 2 headshots, finally.
If you're a fan of Fallout the board game, then we've got you well and truly covered here on the Lucky Roll. Have you watched our unboxing videos yet for Fallout New California, Fallout Wasteland Warfare, or most recently Fallout Shelter the board game? What about our video covering the top 5 reasons to love Fallout, or even our Atomic Bonds announcement reaction video? Not to forget our very popular ongoing series of Fallout playthrough videos. If you've missed any of these, check the info in the description below and follow the links to catch up. And don't forget to subscribe to the Lucky Roll to stay up to date with all of our future Fallout releases.
Finally, 2 headshots on the Super Mutant Behemoth. Now that was my final reroll. However, I do have the well-rested trait, so I'm going to use the well-rested trait, and hopefully we'll get a hit on either arms or head. And we have arms. Thank God. So after extraneous effort, I finally got 2 hits on arms, or 2 hits in the head and 1 hit in the arms. Now the Super Mutant Behemoth has done 3 points of damage to me. Fortunately, this time I have 2 armor value points. So as you can see, the detective coat on top of the vault suit gives me an armor value of 2. So he only does 1 point of damage to me, multiplied by 3, which is 3 hit points. So 16 goes down to 13. And this fecker is, no, I said fecker, sorry, just for people who aren't Irish. It's a benign version of the word. So this fecker is gone. So I'm going to put him back here, and I get 3 XP for my trouble. So 1, 2, 3, and I get 3 caps for my trouble, because even though he doesn't have any loot, the card stated that you get caps equivalent to the character's level. So, and what I need to do is, he originally came from the Super Duper Mart. Now it was my mistake. I was supposed to put a normal raider icon there. Instead I put a super villain, or I put the behemoth character there, but I thought, my mistake, might as well just live with it. So I'm going to replace it with the actual character that should have been there from the start. And that was my first action, and it feels good to have finally slapped that particular bully. So for my second action, I'm going to quest at the Red Rocket Station to see if I can move the main story a little bit onwards. 47. More scratches on the wall indicate a second cache inside. It's clear that almost everything is still in place here. This is what the survivors are looking for. I can gather what they need, but hide the rest for myself to retrieve later. I can gather it and return to the crash site, or I can forget them and take it all for myself. Now, oh yes, I used my well-rested trait on the boss, so I just need to get rid of that. I have perception and intelligence, and I need a score of 4 to give them what they need and keep the rest for myself. Now the coat gives me an extra hit on perception, the detective coat. So I have 2 rerolls and an automatic extra hit. And Marcus also gives me an extra hit on intelligence. So it's perception and intelligence I need. So I think I'll be the dirty rotten scoundrel, and I'll give them what they need but stash the rest. So I need a score of 4, and we have a score of 1. So re-rolling my perception, score of 2, re-rolling my intelligence, whoops, fell off the table, nothing. So I would have failed that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my detective coat to add a hit of perception, and I'm going to exhaust Marcus, which allows me to add 1 hit. Now, it says here that if you have at least 3 special tokens, which I do, I have 6, I can keep Marcus when he unexhausts. So Marcus is just going to go to bed for a little bit. So I add 2 hits and artificially bump up my score to 4. So succeed. You return for the haul later. Complete either National Treasure objective, loot by Wasteland, and trash. So I can choose which National Treasure objective I complete. So what I'll do first is I'll get my lovely loot. Now it's a level 2 Wasteland station, so I'm going to take 2 loot cards, and we get junk, And a stealth boy. Now the stealth boy is interesting. During a fight, before resolving the enemy's hits, you may discard this card to resolve your hits first. If the enemy is killed, do not resolve its hits. Now that is a handy little thing. The stealth boy, of course, in the game makes you very hard to see, so that gives me a free attack on an enemy, which would have been very useful against that behemoth. And junk. So during your turn, you may discard this card and another junk card to gain one card of your choice from the shop or from the loot or Cap's discard piles. Now I think I already discarded the other junk card earlier on, so it's not much use to me, but I'll take it anyway because it's worth 2 caps. And we'll resolve the National Treasures objective. So, National Treasures. I could have looked for survival gear for the wounded, or I could demand an explanation in exchange for the contents of the caches. So, I think I agreed to encounter the cache, but it has the same result anyway. So I wanted to boost the shield. So the shield goes forward 1, which is a good thing because once we get to the end of the agenda cards, the Brotherhood only catches up rather than both tokens going forward. I get 3 XP, so that's 1, 2, 3. So if I get any more XP, I will level up again. I stage 49 and 67, and this is trashed. So 49 and 67. So the card 49, these are 2 new quests that I can go off, or 2 new story objectives. So 1 more silver dollar. The survivors explain that they are mostly scientists critical to the Enclave's current mission: retake the Wasteland for humankind. In order to continue their work, they need someone to make contact with the Enclave to request a medevac. I could report their location to Enclave soldiers, so I can quest on Project Purity or Space with a shield, which just happens to be here. Excellent. Or I could report the Enclave's emergence and this looming threat to the Brotherhood of Steel, where I could quest at the tower, which is here. Yeah, so I either report it to the tower, which is where the Brotherhood of Steel are, or I can tell the Enclave where their boys are at. So I think, because I'm on the side of the Enclave here, I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to go to the bios and say, lads, you've got lads here, help them. The other card is Vault Rumors. Every year, new unfortunates appear out of the Wasteland, claiming to have been banished from an underground bunker made from before the war by a company called Vault Tech. Perhaps it is worth investigating. Many of the Vault exiles are caught by raiders. You might be able to get something off one of them. So if I kill a raider, I can stage the next card, or if I can find an old exile who will sell me information, and I quest at any settlement and spend 4 caps. So that at least is a handy way to move on the next card. So I want to go to the Enclave, and I want to go to the Enclave and move the quest along. So anyway, this card got trashed, so I'm going to put that away. That, I believe, was my second action, because I just moved there. So the agenda cards move forward. So turning the card over, we have bugs. So this buzzer moves here. This fella, the fire ant, moves here. So like, I mean, look at all that. There's 3 bad guys there waiting to get me. This fella moves here, and there's no other bugs in play, so I'm going to put that down aside. Now what I need to do is I need to quest at the Enclave. So it's going to be 1, 2. Now unfortunately this is rough terrain. There's a red outline here. I won't lift the tile up, but that means that it costs 2 movement points to traverse it. So for my second action, I literally have to walk on top, and on my next turn I will talk to the Enclave. And spinning the final card, we have stars move. There's no stars on the board, and robots move, and there's no robots on the board. And we have come to the end of the agenda deck. So what happens next is the story moves on. Now, I was fortunate that I pushed the enclave symbol down, because what happens now is that the star simply catches up.
If you're enjoying this video, please like, share and subscribe. And of course, we want to hear from you. Post a comment, pose a question, get involved.
So we'll take this aside, we'll shuffle them, and we'll begin all the fun and games again. Now I can actually force the story on a little bit further and push the enclave symbol down a little bit. Now I need to make sure that I don't give them overall victory, because I need, I believe, 11 influence points to actually win the game along with the enclave, and I don't quite have that as of yet. So if I can work against myself if I push for an enclave victory and I don't have enough influence with them to get the victory condition. So we were at one more silver dollar. So quest to project purity or a space with a enclave. So I need a score of intelligence. I need a score of 4 with perception and intelligence. So unfortunately Marcus is exhausted this time, so I can't add to the score, but my last roll was pretty dismal. So I have 3 rolls, 2 re-rolls to get this. So we have a score of 4 straight away. Funny how your luck can just change like that. So on my very first turn, I have sufficient hits to talk to the enclave. So I push the shield symbol forward 1. So we move this forward again. So it goes down to here. So the enclave are once again ahead of the Brotherhood of Steel. I place a shield, Project Purity, which is all the way down here. I get 3 XP, so I have leveled up. So that's 1. So I take out 2 and keep 1, and hopefully strength is one of them. So I have perception and intelligence. So those are the 2 traits I can pick from. So that's 1, 2, 3. So those are the 2 traits I can pick from, but I'll do that in a second. And I stage 51 and 94, and this card gets trashed. So what I do now is I'll go and, before I stage the new cards, we'll have a look at the perks I could get. Now I have a choice between perception, night person, discard to place your figure in any space in the map, then you may perform a fight, quest or encounter action. Now that is a handy one, because that allows me to jump from one spot of the map to the other. Sniper, discard to be a sniper. Until the end of your turn, you can target any enemy on the map you fight using a ranged weapon. The enemy does not inflict damage. Or concentrated fire. Discard during a fight to choose 1 die. Choose each other die to match that result. Now that's interesting as well. And the other one was intelligence. So let's have a look at the intelligence traits, or perks I should say. So we have Swift Learner. Discard to level up to keep both special tokens. If you gain a perk, you cannot choose Swift Learner. That's not really good to me because I'm nearly leveled up. Gun Nut, discard at a settlement to gain a weapon item from the shop or from any discard pile. Now the weapon I have is the plasma rifle, so I think I'll keep that. And Nerd Rage, if an enemy would kill you during a fight, discard to get mad, suffer no damage or radiation, and kill that enemy instead. Now this would have been handy with the Super Mutant Behemoth, but he fortunately is gone. So I think of all the cards, the perks, I will keep Night Person. So basically, I discard this card to place my figure in any space on the map. Then I can perform a fight, quest or encounter action. So if things get to a point where I'm a bit too pushed for time, it's basically a free transport to any part of the ship, or transport, sorry, Star Trek reference. It's a free transport to any part of the map. So that's my perk sorted. Now I need to stage 51 and 94. So getting 51 and 94. And this card gets trashed. So 51 is Give me liberty. The Brotherhood of Steel is working on a secret weapon to take on the Enclave. Meanwhile, the Enclave continues to build up its forces at what used to be the Jefferson Memorial. I could pay off some criminals to sabotage the Brotherhood's project. I quest at the tower, which is here. Perception, charisma, score of 5, and I spend 4 caps. Well, plenty of money. And I do have the 2 traits. Or, the Brotherhood is recovering equipment from the old Robco junkyard. Bring them some more supplies. Now, I'm obviously not working in favor of the Brotherhood, so I'll probably go to the tower and spend some caps. And the other card is the Children of Atom. A missionary stands in the street preaching a new religion called the Children of Atom. Many followers gather at Hoffman Farm, inviting all to embrace Atom's glow. I could become a new recruit for their favor, go to Hoffman Farm and discard a companion, or the word of Atom calls to you and embrace the glow. Or I could go to an irradiated space. Now, both give me an agenda point, an agenda card, which is something I do want. I can only have 4 agenda influence cards at a time, and I have only 2 at the moment. Now, I could go to Hoffman Farm and discard Marcus, but I like Marcus. He's actually very handy. He saved me with the last perception hit point thing. So I could just go to an irradiated space and get irradiated, suffer 2 radiation damage. Now the problem there is my radiation damage will go up to 7, which is effectively halved my hit points. Now there's no Radaway in the store. I am quite powerful, and if I play my cards right, I could stay out of trouble. So I think what I will do is I will go to the irradiated space and embrace Atom. So I'm going to go 1, 2. Oh yes, my first action of course was questing there. This is my second action. And I need to quest an irradiated space, so I naturally gain 1 radiation anyway. And I needed to do endurance 3, so that possibly is not a good idea. What I'll do actually is I'll mulligan that. I'll camp, get my well-rested trait back, go back up to full hit points, and then on my next turn I'll move to the irradiated space and irradiate myself. So, drawing the card, the characters that move are the bugs. So we have 1 bug here that moves. Actually, no, it's all the same. We have this guy moves here, and this fella moves here. And no other bad guys move. So it was just the bug. So we'll put that aside. So for my first action, I'm going to go 1, 2 to the irradiated space. So I get radiated. And I'm going to quest endurance there and embrace Atom's glow. So I roll the dice, and I need a hit of 3. And I have a hit of 4. So I get 2 radiation for my trouble. But I've embraced Atom's glow. So let's see what happens. I suffer 2 radiation, I have that done. I stage 96. I gain an agenda card. So we'll take this one. So unfortunately, this is the agenda that is for the Brotherhood of Steel with the star. Now I'm after investing all my time in the shield, so this is not a good agenda card for me. And I stage 96 and this card gets trashed. So staging 96. And the card is Join Us. You see the light of Atom's glow. The only salvation for this forsaken wasteland is to spread the light to all the non-believers. Convince everyone to band together under Atom's glow, where I quest an irradiated space, and more than half of all survivors must also be in irradiated spaces, where I stop the cult before it gets completely out of hand. I had a bit of a read of the rules and checked out, just wanted to familiarize myself with radiation damage a little bit. So what I think I'll do is I'll move here, because I can't quest at the same space twice, and let the agenda cards go on. but I think I will embrace the cult of the Children of Atom for the fun of it. So drawing the card, we have Raiders activate and Bugs activate. So the Raiders move 1 space. Now, you know what? We'll put them into the radiation part because they might as well embrace Atom's glow. This fella wakes up, and this fella wakes up. And the second thing we do is Bugs. So the Fire Ant will move here to Megaton to get to me, and the Mole Rat will move here to get to me, and this Bloatfly will move here. So it's back to my turn, and I want to embrace the Children of Atom, so I'm going to move to a radiated space, and I'm going to quest on it. So each survivor in a radiated space gets an agenda card. So hopefully this will be one for security, which is good. So as you see, it has the Enclave shield up here on top, so I'm going to keep that one. And I'm going to stage 97, and this card gets trashed. So 97. The Wasteland glows. The Church of the Children of Atom has grown to a huge size. The Confessor at its head leads his flock from one of the most opulent estates still left in the Wasteland. At the end of the round, each survivor rolls 1 VAT die for each companion he or she has. For each double hit point, so I'll just show you the symbol here. For each double hit point, just get the focus correctly, that is this symbol on the die. I suffer 1 radiation. Of course, I forgot I need to take a radiation damage for going there. So at the end of the round, once I go through all these cards, we have to roll for radiation damage. So I have 2 choices. I can bring a new Devout to the Confessor, so I can go to Pendleton Estate, which has not been discovered yet, and discard a companion. Or I could end the Confessor's reign. I could quest a Pendleton Estate, draw and fight a Raider icon, and apply 1 to its level. Now that's interesting. If I discard a convert to Pendleton Estate, I only get an agenda card. However, if I attack Pendleton Estate, I can get the Shish Kebab unique asset. Now that's an interesting one. Pendleton's estate hasn't appeared yet on the map, so once it does, we'll make a decision there and then as to what we'll do. And that was my turn. I moved there, then I quested, so it's back to the agenda deck. So drawing the cards, we have Star and Super Mutants. Now this Super Mutant moves here. There's no other Super Mutant on the board, and there's no stars on the board, so this card goes here, and it's back to myself. Now I am at 9 radiation, which is just silly, so I think I'll get out of this irradiated zone and do something that's not quite so stupid. Now where could I go for relative safety, however? I could go to the rocket station. There's no... I could go 1, 2, and then 1, or I could go to Hoffman Farm, which is the closest place, and take on that Super Mutant Brute. Or I could go 1 space here to Megaton and take on the Fire Ant. Now the Fire Ant would be a bit more sensible, as he's not quite as strong as the Super Mutant Brute. So I'll go here for my first action, and my second action is I'm going to attack that Fire Ant, and hopefully nothing jumps on top of me and swarms me. But if it does, it does. So attacking the Fire Ant, I need headshots and arms, and it's a skill level of 2. Now the ranged symbol, in case people are wondering, means that if the enemy activated, it would attack me from the next spot. However, it doesn't, so attacking the Fire Ant, I need arms, so I have 2 sets of arms, and I need a headshot. Now I have no headshot icon, but I have enough there to kill it, but it does 3 points of damage to me. I block 2 of the hit points, so that's 1 by 2, which is 2 hit points of damage. It does. The thing dies, and I get 2 XP for my trouble. So thanks to Eric LF, I have to put him at the closest bug space, so that's here. And I gain 2 XP, which goes up 1, 2, and that was my turn. So turning the agenda card to the next one, we have Star and Robot. Now there's no stars on the board and there's no robots on the board, so this worked out well for me. And I think for my first action I will quest, because I need to get some radiation medicine right away. So questing on Megaton, I receive: out of nowhere, a grey tabby cat races across your path. Ashes, a voice shouts. Ashes, come back. The cat trots forward for a few feet more and then turns around and stares at you. I could ignore them both, or I could try and catch the cat. Oh, I see, this is a bit of a personal conundrum. I have 3 cats myself, and I could not, despite being a very bad guy in this game, leave another cat lover in the lurch like that, so I think I'm going to have to try and help. So I need a score of 4, so it's agility and luck. So I have a score of 2 and agility and luck, so I'm going to do my first reroll. Nothing. My second reroll, nothing. And I have my well rested trait that I'm just going to use, and I luck out. I got a score of 2, so I actually save the cat. Phew, because my 3 cats, Rosie, Fluff and Petal, would be quite annoyed at me if I let one of their compatriots down. So succeed. You manage to sneak up on the cat and pounce, snatching it up in your arms. A breathless woman runs up to you. Thank you, I've been looking everywhere. Please take this as a reward. I can choose 1 item from the shop. Right, well, that's interesting. I wanted to shop, but I couldn't, so I'm going to put this... Is this card trashed? No, it's not. So I can actually choose 1 item from the shop. Now, the only thing that's on display here is Nick Valentine, Ian, Jet, and a Dictol. So I think the useful thing for me is I'll drop the junk and I'll take the Addictol, because I have Ultrajet. Now Ultrajet is an interesting chem because it allows me to change 2 die results to the different faces of my choice. Now that's during a test or a fight, so unfortunately the danger with this is you could get addicted. So the Addictol will balance that off quite nicely, I think. So I'll put these 3 cards back and we'll draw the new shop card, which is a fragmentation grenade, which is interesting. However, it still doesn't help my initial problem, which is radiation. Now, that was my first action. I think what I'll do is I'll camp so I can bring my health points back up and get my well-rested card back, or trait back. So moving the agenda card, we